All right. Am I on Facebook now, Marion? Marion?
Yes.
Okay. Thank.
Sorry about the late notice.
Okay, we're good. We weren't screaming on Facebook, but we are now. Okay. Okay. We continue on page 227. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al mitzvot kiriyat shema lahamlicho balevav shalem ul yachado bechol tov ul avdo benefesh chafetza. Praised are you, Adonai, ruler of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us how to recite the Shema and to declare wholeheartedly God's rule, to declare earnestly God is one, to willingly worship God. Page 228. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvarei choshech, oseh shalom uvarei et hakol, hameir la'aretz v'ladarim aleha barachamim, uv'tuvo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reshit, ma'arabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam b'chochma asita, ma'olah ha'aretz kinyanecha, titbarach Adonai Eloheinu, al shevach ma'aseh yadecha, all me'orei or sha'asita yefa'aru chasela, or chadash al tzion ta'ir v'nizkech kulanu meheira la'oro, baruch atah Adonai yotzer ha'me'orot.
We have to work out a tune for this.
Page 231. Love your neighbor as yourself, you said, and light blinded we saw that inner and outer worlds are one as you are one. You spoke and we wrote. We reach for you down the centuries, your light moving before us. As we climbed, fell back and climbed again. Your Sinai of life, Baruch atah Adonai, Abocher be'amo Yisrael be'ahava. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad. Baruch Shem kevod malchuto le'olam va'ed. Please be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'otecha v'hayu hadavarim ha'elah asher nochi mitzavaka hayom al levavcha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta b'ham Veshivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochkecha uv'kumrecha uv'shartam le'ohot ha'yadecha v'hayu letotafot beinenecha uv'taptam amizuzot beitecha uv'isharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem ekol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'elokechem Ani Adonai Elokechem Asher Hotzeiti Atchem Me'eretz Mitzrayim Liot Lachem L'Elohim Ani Adonai Elokechem. Page 236. Vayomer Adonai al Moshe lemor deber al bnei Yisrael v'amarta aleihem va'asu lahem tzitzit Adonai said to Moses as follows, speak to the Israelite people and instruct them to make for themselves fringes on the corners of their garments throughout the ages. Let them attach a cord of blue to the fringe at each corner. That shall be your fringe. Look at it and recall all the commandments of Adonai and observe them so that you do not follow your heart and eyes and your lustful urge. And I believe that cord of blue, that specific color of blue, no one really knows what that blue is.
Yeah, that snail, they're producing now in Israel.
Page 240, Micha Mocha. Mi kamocha baheli matonai mi kamocha nedabakodesh nor tehilot o sefele nor tehilot o sefele shira hadasha shibhu gavlim lashimcha osfat hayam Yachat kulam hodu v'kim lichu ve'ameru Adonai imlo le'olam vahed Su Yisrael kuma be'ezrat Yisrael Uvdeichenu mecha Yehuda ve'Yisrael Go'aleinu Adonai tzemot shemo Kadosh Yisrael Baruch atah Adonai Kol Yisrael. And I'm going to just ask one of our congregants here in the sanctuary, Mr. Hess, that Sur Yisrael, who is that composed by?
That one?
But as we rise for the tefillah on page 242, that Sur Yisrael was written by Eli Schleifer.
Oh, that's
Adonai sifetai tivtachu fi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Gehula Livnei V'neihem, Limhan Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch Adonai, Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei HaKol, Atah Rav Zoshia, Mechakel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayei HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Mikamoka Bokivurot, Umido Melach, Melech Memitu Mechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'neim Hanata L'chayot HaKol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol. Nekadesh et Shemcha ba'olam, Keshem Shem Makdeshim Oto B'Shmei Madam, Kakatuv Ayat Nevi'echa, V'Karazel Zeh Amar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevahot, Melech Kol Haaretz, Kevoto, Adir Adirenu Adonai, Adonenu Mahadir Shimcha B'Kol Haaretz, Baruch Yevod Adonai Mimkomo, Echadu Eloheinu, Hu Avinu Hu Malkeinu, ולמושיענו והוא ישמיענו ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו הבינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Please be seated. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. מקדשי שבי שבת כולם יספרו ויתענגו מטובך שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ובשבי רצית בו וקידשתו שבת. חמדת ימים אותו קראת שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. זכר למעשה בראשית שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. Page 252. Our God and God of our ancestors, be pleased with our rest. Sanctify us with your mitzvot and grant us a share in your Torah. Satisfy us with your goodness and gladden us with your salvation. Purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Adonai our God, grant us your holy Shabbat as a heritage. May Israel, who sanctifies your name, rest on Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Ritzei Adonai Eloheinu be'amcha Yisrael utfilatam ba'ahava tekabel. Uti l'ratzon tamid avodat Yisrael amacha. El karov l'chol kor'ah b'nei el avadecha v'chonenu shefoch ruchacha aleinu.
I love that.
Modim anachnu lak she'atahu Adonai v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu la'olam va'ed, page 256. Together we acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai our God and the God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that we experience every day, and for your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of day, evening, morning, and noon. O good one, whose mercies never end, O compassionate one, whose kindness never fails. We forever put our hope in you. Page 258. The words of Sim Shalom always seem to resonate in different ways on different Shabbats, and especially on this one, with everything that's going on in the world, especially in Ukraine, where people are suffering so deeply. And so we wish upon all those for God to grant peace, goodness and blessing, grace and kindness and mercy to us, to all your people Israel. Bless us, our Creator, all of us together, through the light of your presence. Truly, through the light of your presence, Adonai, our God, you gave us the Torah of life, the love of kindness, justice, and blessing, of mercy, life, and peace. May you see fit to bless your people Israel at all times, at every hour, with your peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamavarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. Praised are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. Sim shalom, sim shalom, sim shalom, tova uvracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael amecha. Sim shalom, sim shalom. Take a moment for some quiet meditation. Yiyu deratzon imre fi v'hegioni lefanecha Adonai tzuri v'goali Adonai tzuri May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. Or what? Sure, they're praying for peace, that's for sure, if anything else. Maybe. We turn to page 371 for our prayer for healing. Take in our hearts Edward Lefko and James O'Neill, Howard Robertson, Gig St. Romain and Joel Webb. And for anyone else who is wanting a prayer for healing, any names to be mentioned?
Families and victims of terror issue, certainly Ukraine.
Misheperat avoteinu mikor habracha le'aimoteinu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. le'avoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We continue with Seder Kriyat HaTorah, reading for the Torah on Shabbat, and we rise. Mitzion Tetzei Torah, Mitzion Tetzei Torah, Udavar Adonai Merushalayim, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Le'amo Yisrael B'Kedushato. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo Kadu Adonai Iti Orolema Shemo Shemo Yachdav Lo Yisagoy El Goy Hereb Lo Yomadu Ot Milchama Lo Yisagoy El Goy Hereb Lo Yomadu Ot Milchama, Lo Yisagoy El Goy Kereb, Lo Yomadu Ot Milchama, Lo Yisagoy El Goy Kereb, Lo Yomadu Ot Milchama, Lo Yisagoy El Goy Kereb, Lo Yomadu Ot Milchama, Lo Yisagoy El Goy Kereb, Lo Yomadu Ot Milchama. Please be seated. As we talked about in our Torah study this morning, Vayikra, the first Torah portion for this portion of Leviticus, really, of course, goes into, there's 5 chapters of different kinds of sacrifices that need to be offered in the sanctuary. The Olah, the burnt offering, which was a voluntary sacrifice that had a high degree of sanctity and was considered a standard offering. The entire animal, except for its hide, was burned on the altar. Then we have the Mincha, meal offering, which was a sacrifice made of flour and oil and salt and frankincense that was partly burned on the altar, and some of it was given to the priests, the Levites, to eat. And then Zabach Shalamim, or sacrifice of well-being, was a voluntary animal offering from one's herd and sometimes brought to fulfill a vow. And the Chatat, or sin offering, was an obligatory sacrifice that was offered to expiate unintentional sins, and this offer differs from others in the special treatment of the blood of the animal. And the Asham, or penalty offering, was an obligatory sacrifice of a ram that was required chiefly of one who had misappropriated property. It might be difficult to consider what sacrifices what sacrifices should be difficult to offer in the year 2022. I like what one particular author wrote, Deborah Getz, when she writes, understanding this concept of korbanot. It gives us concrete ways to live our lives, and our practice of benevolence is shown through kindness and compassion and generosity and goodwill for the earth and its inhabitants. And I like that. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Hamim V'natan Lanu et Torto. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Vayikra HaMoshe Vayidaber Adonai Elav Me'ohel Mohed Lemor Daber el b'nei Yisrael, v'amarta aleihem Adam, ki yakriv mikem korban ladonai min habehema min habakar umin hatzon takrivu et korbanchem. Imola korbano min habakar zachar tamim yakrivenu el petach ohel moed yakriv otoho lirtsonoho lifnei Adonai v'samach yadoho all rosh halav v'nirtza loho lechaper alav v'shachat et ben habakar har lifnei Adonai v'hikrivu b'nei Aharon hakohanim et hadam v'zareku et hadam al hamizbeach saviv asher petach ohel moed v'hishit et ha'olah v'natach otaha lintacheha v'natenu b'nei Aharon hakohen Eish al hamizbeach ve'arechu eitzim al ha'eish ve'arechu b'nei Aharon hakohanim et habentachim et rosh ve'et habater al ha'eitzim asher ha'eish asher al hamizbeach ve'kirbo uchra'ahav Yirchatz b'mayim v'hitir hakohen et hakol hamizbecha olah ishe reach nichoach lahadonai. And this particular Torah portion, actually, there's another edition that is traditionally read for Shabbat Zachor. And it actually comes from Deuteronomy. And it connects to the Haftarah portion because it speaks about the Amalek. And it's from Deuteronomy chapter 25, verse 17 to 19. And since I didn't want to take out a second Torah, I'm just going to be reading it from the sheet, but I thought it'd be worthwhile to hear those 3 verses from Deuteronomy. Remember what Amalek did to you on your way out of Egypt. When they encountered you on the way, you were tired and exhausted. They cut off those laggings to your rear and they did not fear God. Therefore, when God gives you peace from all enemies around you in the land that Adonai has given you to occupy as a heritage, you must obliterate the memory of Amalek from under the heavens. You must not forget. Zachor et asher asa lecha Amalek b'derech b'tzeichem mimitzrayim asher karcha b'derech v'ninev becha kol hanecheshalim acharecha ve'ata ayef ve'yagea ve'lo yarei Elohim v'haya behaniach Adonai Elohecha Lecha mikol oivecha mi saviv ba'aretz asher Adonai Elohecha noten lecha nachala levishta timche et zecher Amalek mitachat hashamayim lo tishkach Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tokenu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. We rise as we honor the Torah. Since my back is sore, I'm not going to do just quite that. Vizot haTorah she'asa Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Susan, now I can use your help. Yadadai dai 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 yadadai dai 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 yadadai dai dai. It is indeed. Keep holding it. This one on the side where she. Thank you. Please be seated.
You hear Rabbi Josh house, did you?
Only part of it.
Did you hear the part about Amalek?
Yes.
I decided to put this out.
On the Shabbat before Purim, the regular Torah portion is augmented by 3 verses from the book of Deuteronomy, which I had just read, which ask us not to forget what Amalek did to us in days gone by. The Haftarah deals with a war between Israel and Amalek in the days of Samuel. Its central figure is King Agag, the ancestor of Haman. Well, boy, they must have gone on Ancestry.com to discover that connection.
Rabbi did it last night.
I know, I heard that. So King Agag, the ancestor of Haman, about whose involvement with the Jewish people we read on Purim, of course, in the scroll of Esther. I'll be reading from 1 Samuel, chapter 15, and first 3 verses. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nviim tovim v'ratzah v'divreihem hanehemarim b'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah u'Moshe abdo u'Yisrael amo Uvinviei haemet vatzedek. Ko amar Adonai tzivahot pakati eit asher asa Amalek leYisrael asher sham lo baderech baloto b'Mitzrayim. Ata lech vehikita et Amalek vehacharamtem et kol asher lo v'lo tachmol alav vehemata meish ad isha meolel vad yonek Mishur vatsehem migamal ve'ad chamor vayishama Shaul et ha'am vayivkadehem batilaihim 200,000 ragli va'aseret alafim et ish Yehuda vayavoho Shaul Adhir Amalek Vayarev Banachal. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Sor kol ha'olamim Sadik b'chol hadorot Ha'el ha'neman ha'omer v'oseh Ha'medaber u'makayim shekol devarav Emet v'tzedek al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach u'mevarchim otach yitbarak shimcha b'fi kol chai tamid le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha'shabbat. Amen. Page 377. Sha'alu shalom Yerushalayim, Yishlayu ohavayich. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper together, O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel. Bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love and spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and from fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Together we say, Amen. We rise as we return the Torah to the ark. Yahalelu et Shem Adonai ki niskav shemo levado. Let us praise the name of Adonai, for God's name alone is exalted. We remain standing for the Aleinu found on page 586. Aleinu, Aleinu l'shabbat l'adon, l'adol, l'teinu l'aleoser, l'rishi, shelo tzadok goyei haratzot, v'lo saman mishpachot l'anama, shelo samtafeinu kanem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamona, v'nahachnu kori, u'mishtachavim oti, L'ifnei melech, v'kein hamati, ha'kashol, ha'ruchu, v'nemar, v'haya Adonai, l'melech b'chol ha'aretz, v'yom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. Please be seated. It is hard to sing of oneness when the world is not complete, and those who once brought wholeness to our life have gone, and naught but memory can fill the emptiness their passing leaves behind. But memory can tell us only what we were in the company with those we loved, cannot help us find what each of us alone must now become. Yet no one is really alone. Those who live no more echo still within our thoughts and words, and what they did is part of what we have become. We do best homage to our dead when we live out our lives more fully, even in the shadow of our loss. For each of our lives is worth the life of the whole world, and each one is the breath of the ultimate one. In affirming the one, we affirm the worth of each one, whose life now ended, brought us closer to the source of life, in whose unity no one is alone, and every life finds purpose. We are in a period of Shloshim. For Sidney J. Beskoff III, Ann Zivitz-Keens, Captain Brian Lampert, Rabbi Sanford Marcus, and Cynthia Ward. We remember these names on the anniversary of their yahrzeit: Dr. Hartwig Moss Adler, Leah Pulitzer Anton, Clara Lee Aronson, Harold Julius Aronson, Matilda Barr, Arthur L. Barnett, Betty Wheel Barnett, Jules Lazard Kahn, June Beverly Cohen, Joseph Hugo Epstein, Jack Fine, Samuel L. Flom, Sarah Lazard Hirsch, Dr. Edward Sidney Hyman, Evelyn M. Kalins, Robert Michael Keir, Wilfred Moore Kuhlman, Joseph S. Loeb, Alexander Lowy, Max Lowy, Rosa Kern Lowy, Hazel F. Marks, Sarah Wolf Markson, Bertha Lichtentag Meyer, Miriam Ori Oken, Philip Platt, Sherman F. Raphael, Sylvia Tobias Rich, Leon Rich, Aline Lowenberg Rothschild, Maurice E. Simon, Edna Horowitz Smith, Melville Sternberg, Esther Weiss, Ruth New Wolf. Are there any other names we need to add to our yard site list? We rise for our yard site for our Kaddish prayer on page 598. Yit Gadal v'Yit Kadash Shemei Rabah v'Almad Devarach Erite v'Yamlich Malchute v'Chayachonu v'Yomechonu v'Chayeda Beit Yisrael v'Agalat v'Hizman Kari v'Yamru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabah Devarach le'Olam Olamei Almayat Yit Barak v'Yishtabach v'Yit Pa'ar v'Yit Ramah v'Yit Naseh v'Yit Hadar v'Yit Haleh v'Yit Halal Shemei Dekudesha Brichu v'Ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata damiram be'omav ve'emru Amen. Yehei Shlomo Rabba Mishmaya v'Chaim Aleinu ve'Akol Yisrael ve'emru Amen. Oseh Shalom b'Rumav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu ve'Akol Yisrael ve'emru Amen. Ve'emru 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 Amen. Ve'emru 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 Amen. Just a few announcements.
They can sit again.
Pardon me?
They can sit again.
No. Tickets, of course you can sit. Tickets to our Saturday afternoon, April 2nd Garden Party Gala is going to be at this place. I don't know, I've never been there before. Have the Hesses ever been there? Longview Gardens. Those tickets are on sale. Beautiful, beautiful facility. I can't wait to be there again. For more information on this exciting event, make sure to check the temple website or on this week's email blast. I have a feeling my doggy Bose has been at Longview Gardens more than I have.
Really? How did you get there?
You took him there. We are, the year's gala auction is now live with plenty of items graciously donated by both congregants and the local community, and there's sure to be something for everyone. I believe this week there is a, let's see, Wednesday we have our Purim celebration here at Temple Sinai. And then the Wednesday after, I'll be doing my second talk at the Adult Ed about my 2-month sabbatical. And I think I'll be highlighting 2 visits, one to Morgan City, Louisiana, which used to be Temple Sha'arei Tzedek, and Donaldsonville, Louisiana. In addition, the last Sunday of this month, there's going to be a presentation by the New Orleans Symphony Chorus of the Joseph Haydn oratorio called The Creation, which is based on the book of Genesis. There's going to be the symphony chorus plus a 25-piece orchestra. I'll be singing the bass role, and it's going to be here at Temple Sinai Sunday at 2 o'clock on that last Sunday of the month. And I'll be singing the part of Raphael, and the last part I'll be singing is Adam. I was typecast, I think. So, but it's a wonderful oratorio. The music is just stunning. And to hear orchestra, choir, and soloists in our sacred space in the sanctuary is truly a sound to behold. The funny thing is that some of the text that I'm singing, which is based on the book of Genesis, some of those words that I'm singing, I can also hear them in the Hebrew too. Yes, yes. And I also get to sing a line, something like this. And God created great whales. Great whales I get to sing, I can't. And I also get to sing the light and flaky snow. I've never got to sing the light and flaky snow before, so. If you'll join me in singing our concluding song, Oseh Shalom B'Rumav, Huyaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'akol Yisrael, Ve'yimeru Yimru Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'akol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'akol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'akol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'akol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'akol Yisrael. We turn to page 604. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam, oti leolam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lahasot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim va'et haaretz v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lahasot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lahasot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Al kain barach Adonai et yom ha-Shabbat v'yakadshehu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hakafen. Amen. Shabbat shalom, everybody. You can take yourselves off mute. And if I could somehow unmute my speaker here, I'd be delighted.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Oh, wait a minute.
Shabbat shalom. Happy St. Patrick's.
There we go. Now I can hear everybody.
Okay.
Oh, well, that's why I did a little green here, if you can see this. I have something to show you guys before you leave.
For you.
So I hope you all have a lovely weekend. I think the weather is going to improve a little bit. So it
Better.
won't be so cold and rainy. Temps will go up a little bit. Are y'all going to have a good weekend?
I
Yep.
hope so.
Absolutely. Thank you so
All
much.
Marion, Liz, Martin, take care. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
And the Hesses say
Thank you.
Shabbat shalom too.
It was great.